Hey, it's P. Welcome back to the Seamless Edits. I'm going to be showing you how I get this look and share with you 5 tips to help make your makeup foolproof this holidays. So what you might want to do if you've got oily skin is to prep your T-zone. So I actually use the Smashbox Photo Finish. So this is great at smoothing and blurring any texture, but it's also quite lightweight. So again, I'm just a pea-size amount. I normally get oily around my T-zone. So that's a little bit here and around my forehead, the nose, and a lot around my mouth area, because obviously when you're talking there's a lot of expressions, so I just want to even out that area. So I have a combination oily skin. There's certain areas, again like T-zone, that gets oily, which is quite normal for most skins, but then I also have sections where it can be rather dry. So now that your skin is prepped, the next thing is finding the right foundation for your skin, and at the moment I am loving the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. Now this is actually tried and true for many people. I'm in the shade 6 and I like how there's good amount of coverage, but also your skin still looks flawless and healthy at the same time. So it's a nice, not too glowy, kind of a semi-matte finish. So I've got this amount. Does look quite a lot on the skin, but once you buffed it out, it's gonna be okay. And I've been loving this brush. How cool is this? It's from Danessa Myricks. I think it's for the Yummy Skin foundation. So I've just put some on the back of my brush and I start swiping them just to get it even across sections. Now you can already see the difference between this side that doesn't have foundation and this side that has the foundation. So you can see my skin is already giving that nice glow, but it also evens out my skin tone. So I also want to get the end near the hairline, so that and the bottom of the neck, because you don't want your makeup to just stop at the jaw. That's very obvious that you have makeup on. So this is how we blend it in. I'm going to do my forehead region, and my forehead region I try to do the least amount because it has the most expression. So I don't want it to crease, but it also has to tie in with the rest of the makeup. So I'm just going to finish that. I do have a mirror on this side, that's why I'm looking over here. So now I'm going to be going in with my concealer, and I like to use 2 different products for that. I like the NARS Soft Matte Concealer. This is in the shade Medium 1 Custard. So this is what it looks like. I think this is great at just cancelling out some of the shadows that are under my eyes. So I've actually been using the Mario Makeup by Mario brush in EF1 as my concealer brush, and I find this is just a perfect tapered shape for underneath the eyes. So then I just go into this, tap some under my hand so there's no excess, and basically just finding. Now if it's too much, then I work on the other side as well. So I don't actually use an eye primer. I just use my concealer and then set it with some powder. So that is another tip, just to make your makeup or your eye makeup last, is to putting some sort of primer underneath, whether that's a concealer or whether that's an actual eye primer. So now I'm going to go in other areas that I want to conceal. So that's near the nose area. Oops, near the mouth. So I want to do a bit more brightening under the eye. So I'm actually going to grab the NARS Radiant Concealer. So NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is one of my favorites and I've gone through so many different bottles of them. So this is in shade Creme Brulee 2.5. This is going to just brighten the under eye just a tad. So it's the tiniest bit. And you can see I only place it in the area where I want to brighten, which is in that kind of center area. I don't want to put the whole thing because that's when it starts to look a bit noticeable, but also that's where you can be prone to more creasing. So I just want enough around that area. Okay, and that is all. So I also like to use concealer again on my eyes. So I'm going to apply a little bit more of that lighter shade on my eyelid. This will also help when you're applying eyeshadow, so then you've got more color payoff. Just going to check that one more time, making sure there are no creases before you put the powder. So blending everything out. That's also another way to prevent creases. Just make sure you blend it one last time, because once you powder, that's locking it in, and if you got creases, it's going to stay there. So the next tip is layering your products for it to last and be foolproof all day whenever you have those events. So basically I normally just have my makeup done and it would last all day, and I just need to touch up my lip or powder. Basically you want to put cream and then set it with some sort of powder, and you'll see me do that throughout the steps. So for contour, I'm going to be using a cream bronzer by Anastasia Beverly Hills. That's what it looks like, and I'm in the shade Amber. So I'm going to get my contour brush and swipe a little bit, and again I'm going to be putting the excess on the back of my hand. This is how you don't get like a muddy look. Basically a bit above your cheekbones so that you can blend it upwards, and under the jawline as well, just to really sculpt the jawline. And the important part is behind your ear. This is also where it can be obvious that you're wearing makeup. So to kind of hide that and make it look more seamless, just brush that up the back as well. And again, the same on the other side. So you want to be able to feel that bone here and then push the product upwards, because we don't want to be dragging our contour down, because this is the purpose of it, is meant to lift your face. So always in an upward motion, and again you can swipe it like a 3, like that, underneath and behind the ears, just like that. And I'm just going to tie that in a little bit by doing my forehead, but my forehead's quite small, so I don't actually need to do too much. Then I'm just going to grab a tiny bit and also chisel out the nose area here, and just a little bit from the inner eye near the bridge of the nose That's just gonna give it a little bit of a lift. So then I'm gonna go in with the bronzer to set the cream, and this is the Terracotta Bronzer in Medium Warm by Guerlain. And same motions, just setting that bronzer. So I'm just going to go back into my powder and blend out any creases that may have just developed. Any creases, I'm going to blend out any creases because I'm going to put in some powder. So what I might actually do as well is, because I want this section to be a bit more bright, I'm going to go in with just a little bit more concealer just in the bridge of my nose, and that's kind of how you quickly sharpen your nose. Give it a little bit of height. Blending that out. So I just use an e.l.f. brush, which I've been using for many years. And today I'm actually going to be using this Mario Soft Blur Setting Powder. So this is in Fair Pink. Again, you can get a medium shade if you just want to color match. So I just want my under eyes, and I only do the tiniest amount, and this is only going to set the makeup again. Under the eye, but also on the eyelid. Sometimes I actually dab it and then I put it into my brush, and that also helps get rid of some excess. All right, so let's start with the eyes. So the first palette I'm going to be using is the Makeup by Mario. This is the Master Matte palette, one of the most iconic. If I could recommend any product, this would be it. It's got every shade, it's got a light shade, it's got smoky eye, you could do an everyday eye with this as well. So starting with the Zoeva Luxe Crease, going with this shade here. Again, tap off any excess, and we're going to start with the crease. This is going to be a good transition color for the next layers. Again, upward motion, blending into the crease. Now I'm going to go in with this Mecca Cosmetica eye blending brush. I'm going to be going in this brown here with a bit of a mixture. I'm going to do this and this brown together. So always kind of do it in layers, because once you place it on, it's going to be very hard to blend. So just do small blending motions to deposit that color. Okay. So sometimes you want your eye a little bit open, just so that you can see the placement of the other side. So my lighting is not that great on this side, so it is a little bit hard for me. Then I go back into my transition color, just brush any excess and use this to blend them together. Okay. The key is also to bring it into your inner corner, and that's how we really tie that look together. I was actually watching my Makeup by Mario's masterclass, and he was also doing this tip, and it does really tie in your eye makeup. Now we're going to do the same thing on the bottom, just with a couple of the shades. So I'm actually going to use this shade, using it as a Weaver Wing eyeliner. So I've avoided that middle inner corner section because I'm going to put kind of a glitter or sheen on that. So this is this one here. That just goes in the center. Now I'm just going to get, this is the Mecca Max soft shadower, something clean so that you can blend out this glitter. Okay. So the payoff is quite good when you use your finger, because there's a bit of moisture from your finger just in the center of the eye. Brushing that and then blending that in. You know what, I might actually go for this shade because I feel like I wanted a little bit more sparkle. So it looks a bit like what I'm after. So I'm just focusing in the center. This is great for events, especially at night, because it catches the light and it looks just so kind of wet, but it's a nice sparkle, not big glitter flexes. I'm going to go into this brush, and on this tapered section I'm going to go into that glitter, and I'm going to put it in the inner corner, tie in the look. And it's okay if you have a bit of fallout, we can also. So I'm going to go into this MAC pencil, the crayon pour. This is in coffee. So what you need is to define your eyes. This is going to take your eye makeup to the next level. So we want to be able to create a darker lash line to really tie in the eye look. So I'm actually going to start normally with the middle section outwards. And at the same time, I'm also getting in that tight line, which is really going to enhance your eyes. Okay. So once I've really perfected that, then I'm going to go in to the inner corner and deepen that line. So now I'm actually going to use my liner and start smudging that out. Now you can see there is a bit more of a smoky liner coming through. So I haven't done my blush, I might do that at the end. I'm going to curl my lashes, get my eyes prepped for. You can skip this if you've already got naturally voluminous lashes, but as you can tell, I don't. So I just need a bit of help. So I usually take off this extra band that comes with the lashes so that you've got more area for the glue. And I'm going to get my handy little scissors, and I'm actually going to cut this section because that always scratches my eye. Gets a bit of, always feels a little uncomfortable. So you can just place them like that, and then you might see where you'd like to get rid of the section. So I can see that's way too long for me, so I'm just going to cut off maybe 1/2 centimeter. Then again, yep, I think that's good for me. While I have the scissors, I like to also measure the next eye as well. Your eye might not be even, so the idea of having makeup is to then balance out the face. It's not necessarily the same size for each eye. One eye might need less and one might need a little bit more. Okay, now that I've done this, I'm going to get my Duo glue. This is the strip lash in clear. So make sure it's the white clear, because I find that really helps. I'm going to give that a little shake. And then what we want to do is put the glue where the band is. Because this is my own glue, I'm going to do it straight on, but if I'm using it on a client, I will use a Q-tip. So that's a good enough amount of glue just to cover that surface area. And you want to just put the cap on like that to make sure the glue doesn't dry out. I'm going to get my tweezers and I'm just going to fan it out because I want it to dry. We want it to be a little bit tacky, so it's going to stick to your lashes. Just fluff it, maybe have a sip of coffee. It's probably a bit too late. For me, it's like 4 o'clock. The key as well is make sure that the tips of the lashes have the most glue, because that's how it's going to lock in your eyes. Sometimes you find when you put on lashes throughout the night, it could come off, and that's usually the corners that come off first. So to stop that from happening, we don't want any lashes flying out. You just need to make sure there is enough glue on the ends, inner corner and the outer corner lash. That's the tip. I think that's a good amount. It's been about maybe 10 seconds. So now we want to look down a little bit, and I always start to kind of get the center and then I will connect the corners. In the corners, I want it to go up a bit to really lift the eye. Yep, and just hold that a little bit just to really lock it in. And we don't want it to be flying away, so we want to really push it a little bit just so it can dry down in that position. Okay. Letting that glue dry. So again, I'm really focusing on the ends, making sure that it just stays locked into place, and try not to blink too much. Lashes are done. I'm going to go into my cheeks. I'm going to start with a base. I'm going to be using Crunchy Almond by Sephora. This is the Care All-in-One Cream. Just getting a blush brush. This is from also Sephora. This is their Pro Contour, but I find it's the perfect kind of tapered brush for blush. And starting in the center, working my way to the outer. It's beautiful. Now, again, so now we're going to set this. I'm going to be using the MAC Ginger Luck Glow Play blush with the same powder blush brush. So again, swiping that in to where you've applied the cream to set that powder. Going back to the Makeup by Mario palette, and I'm going to just define the eyes a little bit more. And I'm also going to put just a little bit more glitter. I have actually decided to put some black liner because I do want to cover up the lash band from the lashes. So this is how you kind of blend it in. So there's a skinny tip, and then there's a bit of a longer tip here as well. I might start with the skinny tip and close. All right, so I'm actually going to then add a little bit more eyeshadow because it is looking a little bit brown. So this time I want it to be just a little bit more bronzy. So I'm going to go in with this shade here and just deepen the eyes. So that is the eye makeup finished. We're going to now be doing lips. I'm going to be starting out with a Fenty Beauty lip liner. This is in the shade Traced Out. Oh, shit. So I'm just going to be enhancing my shape. And then I'm going to be going Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Stick in Fenty Glow. That's going to be my topper. So this is one option if you like a 90s lip. I might actually tone this down a little bit because I do want the eyes to be the statement. So I am gonna wipe this away. Going to go in with the Rare Beauty lip liner in Worthy. And basically I'm going to be shading my whole lip. Then going into the Fenty Glow Glass Bomb. And I have popped on some mascara as well, just to tie in the look. So I might actually add Fenty Beauty highlighter in Kilowatt. Just a little bit on those high points. And a little on my nose as well. Another area that I'm going to add it to is my eyebrow. So this is my finished look. It's tried and tested, and I guarantee it's going to be lasting all night. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and please comment below if there's anything else that you'd like me to share, or if this is a look that you're going to be trying this holiday season.